Hey guys, welcome back to the Dion Gimme channel. Today we're just gonna look at some of the characters that are already in a campaign that has already have about, let's see, 2 sections. Yes, this is our second session and is already at Friday, which means we have 2 more days before the third section coming up. Now I am working on the homebrew specific items and stuff like that slowly as I implement it into the game. Items that are not either in the PHB or the DMD or DMDH. I forgot the Dungeon Master something books or something like that. But anyway, we are going to be going to the characters that we actually have it here. This is actually my text account, and my text account actually have the things for working with either the homebrew items and or how things may actually work with other items that I am implementing. And let's actually start with this first. Maps hasn't increased to a huge amount, since the last time we met. I am actually even working on a potential new continent, so that if the players somehow want to let these continents battle themselves out and it all dies, that they can actually join a new storyline, because the freedom of choice is to not just always follow the storyline, but if you don't want to be able to actually do whatever you want in the game. And that's actually quite hard, because there's a lot of things that's going on that it's limited on money. Like right now, the player corruption has given me the share content on D&D Beyond, has given me the account to actually played on a in-card map editor that does the patchment, like the right here. To see how it looks like. Basically, that's the patchment for the Pacific map, which I actually allow them to cross the areas that they are and when they want to go next. And if there's nothing on that area, what areas do they want to pass where they have a chance to encounter some of the maps that I already put hidden in that area. So that's the second one. I actually got me a Dungeons Painter. I had like a couple of money to actually get myself this right here, which I did put in the last video. I think it's before the last video, sorry, that it shows how that this actually works, the roll d20 and everything else. Now, let's actually go for the right here, I think. Now, actually, let's go right here in the campaign, and I don't have to actually worry about showing you guys these, is because, for example, there is zero, and I mean zero chance that the two other campaigns will ever see, for example, the Ishbal regenerative power property of water. They will never see that, because the way they went in this campaign is that they missed the chance to actually go to the Ishbal portal, and that means that a couple of these in here you will never technically see. So that's why I'm always working on new maps, because if you miss the chance, you probably might not be able to get the chance. It's like a specific portal or something like that. So I don't have to worry about actually showing you these. But let's actually go for the character. We have Dagon, Capsio, Sami, which is the girl named Ravina. I should change that to, because it's Sami Ravina. So Ravina, and then Viso is actually, oops. Right, so it's actually a Decadron, I think, is the technical name for that. And we will go into each one of them on the website. These are the 4 characters. There was a 5th character, but that player was very disrupted, so we had to deal with that player. And now we have 4 player. And to be honest with you, the player didn't do anything that great in the battle against the 2 very powerful CR-17, by the way, monsters in there. Reduced, obviously. I think I made them like around CR between 13 and 14 or so on, and their powers, the powers that these guys had with the items that they're gaining and stuff like that, is just tremendous. Let me just say it's tremendous. So let's actually go for the first character named Decatron. He plays with us an hour a day, and basically has a flavor text that he is a hero from the past. And that hero from the past allows you to come into the future by a specific mean, a portal from the storyline from the old guy that they met in Enda, and that is opening the specific portal to allow them to come here, fight in the present. But when he leaves, basically he has to go back in the past and fight in the past, because without the past there is no present, and he's technically written in the books of history. So that's Decatron. He is a male half-orc barbarian, level 6 at the moment, and basically his items are the Bell Dwarven and the Ring of Protection. And yes, yes, they can technically get these kind of item. I given them enough money on the first one. This he got this from the big boss that they finished. But this one is actually something that he bought in at the beginning of the game, and they always depend. It's different on every campaign, so somebody might be able to buy that depending on what character they pick. He just picked a very simple half orc barbarian with a spirit totem, which again allows him to be resistant to almost every damage except psychic. Which if you go down here and go to the spirit totem, there it is. Right here, he picked bear, and the bear is while raging, you have resistance to all damage except psychic, making him, to be honest with you, one of the best tank even with 18 AC. He is technically one of the best tank in our game. So that is pretty much him. You can actually, let me scroll a little bit down if you want to see his setup. You can pause it and so on, but you know, it had these things for spells and so on, extra feature traits, and then nothing on this extra, obviously. Then the next person we have here is Ravina. Has a specific storyline that should not be technically given. The person doesn't want to reveal it or anything like that. Wants to like progress, and some of the other players like FCO also want to see the character development. Doesn't want to get a spoiler. So we're not going to go with what is her background, but we're definitely going to be seeing that she is an Asimir paladin, and that is actually pretty cool because if there is something with necrotic damage and radiant damage, she has resistance to it, to both of them, and so on. She actually went with the equipment right at the beginning with a cost, I think, of maybe 2,000. I think it was between 1,500 to 2,000. The adamantine breastplate, which allows the person to be immune to crit, and yes, that is allowed in the campaign because some of the monsters are even strong enough without the crit. So the person picked that. Again, has pretty much everything set up right here. I will show you the weapon that the person has, which is a customized weapon, and that took me quite a while to actually make. It actually took me an hour because I didn't know how to make a homebrew. That was the first time making a homebrew item in there. So the Blade of the Deep one is the long sword. It basically does a 1d8 plus modifier. It again does another +2 slashing damage. Elder Metal, you have a +2 to bonus attack roll to make when attacking with this weapon, so it's already a magical weapon, so the person doesn't have to worry about resistance of bludgeoning, slashing, and piercing, you know. So this right here is a slashing. It doesn't have to worry about that 1d8 +4 or 1d10 +4 ever being resistance. It actually bypasses it. Then the person has Mind Speaker. While holding this sword, you can speak and understand the following language: D speech, abyssal, and tongue of the great old one. Additionally, while you're holding the sword, you can communicate with the telepathically with the creature you can see within 100 feet of you. Also have the Eldritch Blast. Is when you roll a critical, basically you just get another die at 1d6 of psychic damage. And this is actually technically the picture. And I do technically take these from Pinned Interest, Reddit, and all that, or I make other new ones with a specific site, which I'll show you that later. So still has a potion armor, is carrying a lot of stuff, but let's see if the person actually saw it later. But so far AC 18, yes, can go to AC 20, but the player really wanted the flavor to be able to have not disadvantage to stealth. So that's the player's flavor, and that's good. At the moment, they hold the sealed of. Okay, I can't actually tell you that. But anyway, the seal provided a +1. So actually, if you go right here, they have a +1 to all of their savings throw. At the same time, they have a +3 because she has a +3 because of her Paladin Aurora of Protection. Which I'm going to scroll down here so you guys can see a little bit of the person's stuff in here. But the Aurora Protection just pretty much give the charisma added to their saving throws. So that's pretty much it for that, and let's slowly go down, and then that's it. There is the Aura Protection, so you can actually see that. Then we have the next player is also a Paladin. This one is actually a draw half Elf Paladin. The person actually liked the flavor text of having more advantage. So the reason why it went half health instead of like something else like Asmir or any other type of like Dwarven or anything like that is because of the Elven accuracy, which I did allow in this game. And the player does have a specific item in here that did not picked it up yet, but it's very flavorful. So he has the same thing as almost the other paladin, except this is a conquest, and I think the other one is an oathbreaker. And the difference between two is like this conquest actually has something called the guidance strike, and what happens is it just gives a +10 after all their rolls. So one channel divinity you can use it once, but if he wants to actually hit with all his combos, like Wrath Smite, and then go ahead and have a his sword, which you're about to see, and do all that damage, plus the divine smite and everything, you want to hit with all that, he confirms it with that one guided strike for the boss and stuff like that. He's going with a fine steed as well, and I had to learn a lot of ruling about that with the independent fighting and so on, but he's going with that path. Got those thunder smite, right smite, and let's go for his spells. There it is. And that's one of the reasons why the drow hasn't used it yet, but we'll use it, I'm sure, if I a couple of monsters that are jointly together and so on. And let's see. At the moment, the feat, I'm sure, is the Elven accuracy. If you actually scroll down here, it almost has the same thing as the other paladin, except when they actually get to the bottom, where it's again picked up the Elven accuracy. And when you have advantage, you just roll 3 times instead of 2 times, which increases the amount of damage that you can make if you crit. So we're going to go into his equipment. Thank you very much. Someone was getting my burger, my girl. And this is the sword that he bought with the money at the beginning, and it actually depends on the campaign how many players I'm playing. This is 5 players, so I went ahead and gave him like around 3,000 gold each. Yes, I actually did that. And the player went ahead and bought the flame sword, short sword, which also bypasses the resistance of slashing, piercing, and bludgeoning of non-magical item. So this is actually a magical item. Doesn't have a plus, and yes, it's not his strength. It's not too big, not even to worry about that, because of this guiding strike and the other items that he had received during the campaign, which we'll go into that a little bit more later. Again, this will be doing the 2d6 fire damage and 1d6 plus 2 piercing damage. So he actually bought that sword attuned to it, and he has the other item that we will go again a little bit more later. So let's get to the last character, and I think this is one of the coolest character that I have seen so far, and that's Kevseel's character. And he's going 5 sorcery divinity, by the way, which I played on my other campaign. I played 3 warlock. It's a swordlock, so it was 3 warlock Hexblade, and then the rest of them was a divine sorcery. So I know what the divine sorcery can do, but he's going a different play style in here. No twin guiding bolt to give advantage or anything like that. It plays it more of a buff savior. So this is what he has in the beginning. You can see the cantrips and so on, quarterstaff. He did get lucky. If you actually look at, I think it's the second video before this one, you might see some of the cool stuff that he does have. So one of the things that I want to mention is that if he does want it to hit, he does have the favor by the gods. So it's roll 2d4 and add it to your total possibility, changing the outcome. And the thing about this is a short rest. Everyone technically take a short rest because everyone has short ability they want to get back. So this is actually like every battle that after you finish, they'll take a short rest. So Voice of Authority is the spell that if you cast on an ally, and even if it's multiple ally, you choose one of the ally and they can make attack. So that's actually pretty cool, because you can choose even the paladin that we saw before, or you can choose another character that's strong enough and make an attack and deal a lot of damage. And again, they can proc divine smite because it's whenever they hit, dealing a massive amount of damage to the other player. So let's see, look at here some of his spells that he actually went with. He went with guidance here for the cantrips, and everything else is just pretty much normal. He went with a absorb element, which actually does help a lot in the campaign after there's a lot of damage in here. Like the other one had a huge damage in necrotic and a huge damage in fire, so you could have used the absorbent element and go ahead and have resistance to fire, and while having resistance to necrotic, because it's an Asimir that has a necrotic radiant damage resistance. So I picked up the bless, obviously, for everybody to be able to hit more. Does have detect magic, healing word. Shield is one of the best one to use as a reaction in case someone hits it with 24. boom, he goes ahead and pops it. 25, you missed as a reaction. He has the heroism, and that one is okay. I mean, I like it. It has the frightening and gain temporary. Then I think that's actually the biggest thing he got. Oh, and the Spirit Guardian. Because there are going to be technical tournaments in this game, fighting with someone else and then again fighting with each other at the end, probably. So, you know, having all these actually does help him. Now, why is his spell attack so high? It's because he actually got lucky. And if you actually look at the second video before this one, you'll see that everything went out so perfect, and I put it on a screenshot. When something happens this amazing, I take a screenshot and show them so they can believe how true it is and how cool it is. So this is what happened. He went into an area and I had a rule where I roll a d20, and when you roll a d20 and it has a 20 on it, you actually gained the specific item to your class. So at that point, I'm gonna look at all the items that are for your class. So then after that, he rolled a 19 to 20, and he rolled a 19. That allows it to increase the rarity from uncommon to rare, and then he did it again from 19 to 20, and it was uncommon. Rare to very rare, and then he rolled a 10 on it. And then I was so amazed by that, because if he would have got it, I think he got it like a little bit lower, he would have gotten the one polymorph, which isn't that all that great and stuff like that. But then he just got the one or more mage +3 already, and he actually bought this, the one or more part +1 in the beginning of the campaign with the item in the armor. But he got one of the best items. It probably, well, not one of the best items, but one of the greatest items that he could probably get. I mean, he just got +3. I don't think it, unless I go higher than that, I don't think it can go higher than that. Anyway, he basically found the castle, and he used the Asimir ability, which, well, listen to this. He used the ability which is called Radiance something. There, Radiant Soul. So once per long rest, as an action, you can transform, getting Glimmering Eye and 2 Incorporeal Wings. For 1 minute until the end as a bonus action, you have flying speed of 30. So the castle was about 150 feet in the air, and I rolled for it to see if it appeared on the first and second day. And the second day, it appeared at 5. Sorry. He rolled a 2, but it appears at the minimum of roll of 1d100 at 15. So he rolled a 2, appeared, but I didn't read the character, and I was like, there's no way they can get up there. Until I saw him do that, I'm like, oh my god, he's gonna be able to get up there. So he got up there, and that's how he got the specific item, by opening a chest. And the chest has 3 difficulty a way to open it, and he succeeded. It's failed on the first one, succeeded on the second one. I can't give too much spoil about that, but it was actually an epic thing for that. So that's all what he got over here. Let's go for the features and scroll it down a little bit if you want to, like, pause it and read what he has. So I quite did like the flavor that he went with that one cleric to get the voice authority, plus also have the heavy proficiency in armor, and going sorcerer the rest, so he can get sorcery points and do these very much cool things in here. So he's basically a great healer for the class. Even with low HP, he's still a great healer for this class. So that is pretty much it for that. But then we have things that may be coming in the future. For example, the blade is already given. There's another one here called the Inmaregin Starlight Silver. They may be able to get this. I know in the next campaign it is a literally so low chance to actually drop it. But again, there's always a percentage to drop it, and this is what it does. You get +1 to your bonus attack and damage roll. But when you actually throw the attack with this weapon, and if your attack roll beats the target's AC, as a bonus action, you may shoot to teleport to it upon impact, gripping the weapon. So if you were a fighter and you throw this weapon, which again I had to put the finesse, thrown, and versatile on it. So if you throw this weapon as a fighter, it deals the damage. You actually can use a bonus action to teleport to it, drive it out of his piercing, basically drive it off the monster, and slash with an extra attack onto it. And then maybe, I don't know, use your action surge and they can attack twice if you're level 5 or more if you're a higher level. So it's a pretty cool katana sword in epicness in here. So it's gonna be a low, very low drop, I think, because they already have like Blade of the Deep, and they have other items that I will be going over. This is there's a possible chance to drop. It's going to be a 1d4 plus 2 radiant damage, 1d4 plus 2 necrotic damage, and also 1d6 plus 2 modifier, which is the strength that we have up here. It's a really cool weapon. It does an ability that it changes this to, like it changes each other ability of +1, and then it gives like an effect. Like for this one, we give like a radiance for dim light and in the 30 feet and so on, and then the other one will get the plus more radiant, because again it's called stream of light. The sword goes to light, but the shadow one is the important one, because when you attack in the shadows, you get a +3 with the attack, and then you get a 1d4 plus 2. Again, it's the same thing, that it switches from one area, like one bonus from this area to this area, but again, this is the cool part, which is the +3 in here. So it's a cool dual ability. It's a short sword, so if a person wanted to like dual wield, and he can technically, but you can't add his modifier if what's it called? If Dagon, the Paladin, picks this right here, and he actually gets to keep it, he technically can use one short on his flame weapon and then use his left one. His AC will go down, but even though he doesn't add his modifier, it'll be 1d6 plus 1d4 plus 1 plus 1d4 plus 1. So it's actually a pretty cool thing. Fighters can do this. Rogue can still use a short sword and stuff like that. Even the fighter will have a better chance. Even the Paladin has a better chance with Guiding Strike to use this, because he can throw it. It's actually pretty cool. And let's see. That's for so far the items that I am placing here. I am going to go right ahead and jump into the items that they have gotten in the Sunday, and the new items that are up here. One of them is the Time Piercer. And it looks like the hourglass, the same thing that you would see in Prince of Persia with the sword and the hourglass. And the effect is pretty simple. You get a +2 to attack and damage roll. We're very easy to add it in. While holding the hilt, you can use it to cast the haste or slow spell, save DC 16. Now this is actually going to be very rare to find. And even though I put rare, very rare, I think I gotta make it very rare. You have advantage on Constitution saving throw you make in order to maintain concentration with the spells cast this way. So haste and slow will have advantage on those. Once a spell has been cast using the hilt, it can't be used until the next dawn. And the reason why I put in rare is because stuff like haste is very powerful, especially if you use it on a goddamn fighter, or if you go ahead and use it on the what is it called, on the Paladin right now that has the flame sword. If he's able to just go right ahead and do his bonus damage, or overall he just makes too much damage. That with the divine smite and other ability that he has, it's just too strong. So that is there. And then this one is the kind of like this golden cloak below Isri stand around you when you walk or cast a spell. The cloak has 8 charges, and you regain 1d6 plus 2. Basically, you can cast Blur, Call Lightning, create or Destroy Water, or Hallucinatory Terrain. At the moment, I'm still wondering if I'm ever going to put this on. It's right here at the moment. And let's go with the final stuff that they have gotten. So what was up for grab was the Bleed of Day one. That was one. It's this one right here. I put this into the homebrew, which they able to use it. Coin box holding is something that they got. Everyone gets this reaching a specific area, and it's pretty much just turn off the gold. That's the easiest way to implement this instead of putting it in as an item. You just turn off the gold and you keep an eye on the money they have. This is the item that Kazil got. And as a bonus, you can push your finger on the needle on the top of the pendant. This drains a single drop of blood into the pendant and deals 1 piercer damage to that person. Then the first evocation or necromancy spell, and trust me, just type evocation, like Guiding Bolt is evocation, the Ray of Frost that he has is evocation. Just type evocation into the search line and you'll see a bunch of them. Some, like Fairy Fire, will have an evocation, and the ability that it does is when you cast within the hour, deals an extra 3d4 damage, or if it has a save, it deals it gets increased the DC by 2. So the way I actually look at this, and the way I ruled it for my campaign, is that if the DC is first and it has a damage second, it's gonna do the DC only. If it has a damage first and it has a DC second, saving throw, is going to do the damage first, and the DC will not go off. And then if he only has a DC, obviously it's going to be DC. If he only has a damage, it's going to be damage. So this player can pretty much go ahead, cast Ray of Frost with this as a bonus action, cast Ray of Frost and deal their 2d something, because at level 5, and then 3d4. Or I'm not sure if, I'm pretty sure he's a Evocation, maybe, or maybe it's a Necromancer. Eldritch Blast, I have to find out what it is, and if it's so, then it could deal more damage. Or I don't know what is the Fireball, but again, if it is anything between Evocation, I'm sure it's not a Necromancy. It'll deal much more damage. Then the last one is the way he has to keep an eye. So every time he uses, I will keep an eye on him in here, because when he applies accumulate 50 drops, it'll shatter and it'll summon a Horn Devil and 3d4 imps. Very dangerous. This was actually a set right here. I don't know why I lost the thing, so I'm gonna have to actually look back at it and make a copy, which I'm sure right about now I'm going to make sure that you guys can't see it or anything like that. Like, I'm gonna put something, no spoilers for all the items. So let's see, gonna go over here and paste it. There you go. So you got the delay, and it'll be a +2 range and attack roll, and then before your attack, you pretty much can make it the command, and the next attack is going to do advantage, and it'll ignore all covers. It's a set. It comes with this explosive arrow, and you guys can read it right here. I gotta make the video a little bit faster, so you guys can read it right here what cool it does. The Gauntlet Vest, it does something amazing in here, and it's a set. It actually has the Gauntlet Mortality, and then it has a chest onto it. Javelin, Mantle of Cephalonis, has the plate 1, the Shield of Rock, which also has feather fall inside of it. Then it has a solar drink, and I will explain this one because the Paladin has it. The wearer of this necklace can cast either Blade Ward or True Strike as a bonus action. True Strike gives you advantage. You only get 2 of these every day, so it's not like after dawn, or it's not an 8-hour long rest or anything like that. You have to wait 24 hours. When you do, you get the True Strike. You'll be able to get both charges and you cast True Strike. True Strike gives you advantage, so the player can go True Strike as a bonus action, and then uses both uses specific weapon that he wants to use. Not both technically. Well, technically he can if he wants to use one attack and one the other extra attack. It depends on what he wants to use. But again, he gets advantage. He's going to be able to attack because he has 3 roll onto it, and can still use Guiding Strike if he actually misses. So the Paladin actually has this, making him extremely strong. This is actually a dart. It comes back on the command, and that's pretty much it. So those were the items. The other items, I am rolling it, and I got a couple of them, but I have to roll a couple more. But let's actually just end the video right here, because I think that is enough spoiler for you guys, and that is pretty much it.